Hey everyone, I figured it would be a lot easier if I guess show my face and but more importantly kind of voice over some of the enhancements and some of the fixes and changes that I performed to the editor so far. So I've punched up Big Box to begin with, and I went into PASC CE, and without going into great detail, but so far this is everything that's being created via the editor. Okay, so I'm going to go into the editor right now and walk you through some of the changes, and there's been a lot, there's been a ton. So I wanted more real estate for the main menu, and I dropped the menu bar and I came up with a context menu up here, and I'll go through some of those options in a minute. But remove the label headings here, and as you can see we now have a game list and sorted and search, and it all works. So let me see a couple of things that I've changed on here. Some of the fixes from the last video I did, they were kind of blatantly obvious when I was running the video. Some of these icons weren't naturally kind of following the preview screen. These, for example, it was being centered, it looked awful. Anyway, so all that has been fixed, and as I said, the games list works correctly. Click on all games. As you can see, the total games count is increased, and that is a true game count that I have on this particular system anyway. This is what I use for 4K testing. My laptop is some kind of hybrid 2K resolution. So let me see. So for example, just so I can pick up different titles across different platforms here. If I go into a game view, now this is completely brand new. All the elements are being picked up, as you'll see as I walk through different games. Publisher, the developer, release date, as you can see, number of times played. This is all coming from Launchbox. User rating, community rating, again, all from Launchbox. The box art, media, ESRB and whatnot, again, all coming from Launchbox. And again, notes. I had notes for the longest time for just the platform, but obviously now I've got it for game 2. And as you can see, as I just spin through the list, it's detecting obviously different systems, as you can see, and the banner at the top and the platform device in the top left, at the top left of the box art. Okay, so and so far anyway, because this editor is essentially using some of my UI elements from my last theme that I developed, which was PASC, which only had 6 views, 2 horizontal platform, 1 filters view, obviously, 2 horizontal game views, and then 1 text view. But based on how I've come up with this so far, I can just keep expanding the total number of views available for you to edit, and it's entirely up to you, you know, which views you will wish to incorporate with your theme. All right, so a couple of things I want to jump into, at least on this screen, before I actually go into the editor itself, is on this context menu. As you can see, I've got new theme. There's no code behind that right now, but what this allows you to do from here is to be able to construct multiple themes. Okay, and you can jump between them and they may have completely different look and feels, but you can actually go into one theme, jump into one view, grab a UI element, jump out, go into a different theme, go into a different view, click on a different UI element and say, hey, you know what, I want to paste the effects that I had from the other view, and it will translate, and it will just paste the effects across themes and across views, and I will demonstrate that later. Okay, but this is where you can build a new theme, and more importantly here, if I just jump to this option here, Open Media and File Explorer, currently I'm in the PASC theme. Okay, all right, and these are all the subfolders that I have in a special images folder, and you can add to these. These are user defined. They're not pre-built or anything. By default it would be empty, so I've just placed, you know, the appropriate images, videos, GIF files into the appropriate subfolders here, and then I can utilize them via the editor. Okay, I won't go into great detail in here, but if I just click on one, for example, you see another subfolder which says games, and then within here you have all the platforms. Now if you have game specific artwork that you wish to pick up, and you have the flexibility of doing that within the editor, instead of you trying to remember the name of the platforms, blah blah blah, this software will actually build all these subfolders for you. So all you have to do is just drop the appropriate artwork into these subfolders. Okay, and then obviously configure your theme to pick up the appropriate artwork. All right. So with that said, I have an option up here that says create game folders. Okay, and it does exactly that. So it goes through the selected theme, in this case PASC, and it will go through the all folders that are defined in the image folder, and it will create all the respective game folders. In this case it didn't have any to create. Okay, but here's a new feature that I've added where you can switch themes on the fly. So I'm going to jump into this one, Neon. It's a work in progress. As I get stuck on coding, I switch to graphics just to clear my mind, and then I switch back to coding again. So this is something I'm just messing around with. But now that I've selected a completely different theme, I'm going to go in and create game folders. And there was nothing to be created here either, which is fine. So I'm going to open up the media folder, and let's say I create a folder for, I don't know, image folder for testing. Okay, I'll leave that there. Go into the context menu and say create game folders, and it built 35 subfolders. All right, so I switch back, games, and there's all the subfolders ready for you to deploy all your artwork. All right, so it's just a quick way of setting up the structure for you, so you don't have to do it manually. Let me see what else is on this screen that you would find interesting. Publish, there's no code behind this at the moment. So as I just mentioned, from here you can switch between themes. Okay, but if you want it to, if you actually want to go ahead and publish your creation, your theme, and for other people to download it via the Launchbox community, then you would use this publish option. And what it would do is create a self-contained folder with all the views and the plugins and the fonts and all that kind of good stuff and instructions, and that's it. And you wouldn't have to launch it through PASC CE or anything like that. You just give it your own name, and away you go. It's your own creation and completely standalone. So that's the idea or the premise at least behind publish. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll go into the editor, but first of all I want to switch back to PASC, because I'm actually using my editor to replicate the last theme that I had constructed 100% in XAML. So if I can get a like-for-like match, then I'm on the right track. So let's see, we'll go in, we can certainly do text view, text games view. Let's see, I want to pick a different platform at least. Let's see, go into GameCube. Yeah, we're going to GameCube. Alright, cool. And then ignore the big box running underneath. I'll explain why this is running in a minute. So we're in the editor, and I've changed a lot up within the editor screen as well. Gone are the checkboxes, gone is the entire list of all the UI elements that you could possibly utilize. I thought that was just way too much information to trawl through, especially if you're making a very kind of clean and simplistic view. You certainly don't want to scroll through all those UI elements. So anyway, this is every UI element that's currently visible on this particular view, and it's ordered the same way it's always been ordered, which is in Z order, which means the closest to you, if you will, going all the way into the background. So as you can see, if I scroll all the way down, here's the background. Okay. From here I've added additional icons where you can just simply take one UI element and drop it right down to the bottom, or push it all the way up to the top, or the forefront, or the foreground. And then another context menu here allows you to add a user interface element. Okay, be it a label, be it an image, a frame, whatever it may be. And I think I've utilized pretty much every single frame for this view, but I can certainly go ahead and add an image, and here it is here. And as you can see up here, it added to the very top, or the foreground, and it says it has an error. And that's because I didn't tell it what image I want to show. And again, here's the complete list of image subfolders, user-defined subfolders that I was showing earlier. And I can just go in and say, you know what, I can hard code and say I always want to show a Commodore 128 on this view for no reason, or there's some logic behind it, and I can say, you know what, I want to show an image based on the selected game. Well, in this case I don't have an image for this particular game, so it's not going to show anything, but we can take it up one level, and I can say by platform. Okay, so you've got different stretch methods here. You can do this, uniform to fill, so if you want to get the exact image size, if you will, I'm going to use uniform, and then change alignment to center. There you go. All right, so no matter what I do now, it's going to look pretty cool. Now, the other thing you may or may not have noticed, and this is something I did late last night, very early this morning, was the number of UI elements now that you can manipulate and you can certainly add to a given view was completely slowing down the editor as far as pickup, movement, and sizing. It was chugging. But after a few more coffees, I figured out a solution. So there you go. It's smooth again, and again I'm running a 4K resolution, so it's punching out a fair number of pixels. So there's a fair amount going on right now, and it's smooth. I'm very, very happy with that, if I do say so myself. So yeah, I mean, this is just a generic image UI element that you can pick, but as I've shown you, you've got some flexibility over you know, the imaging, or at least from a game platform or even filter perspective, that you can utilize here. There's so many different you know, techniques that you could use this for. For example, you could have a subfolder that has all the controllers unique to each platform. Maybe you want to see that listed here, or you may have a set of images for games that show, I don't know, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head here, the number of, I'm trying to think, game-specific stuff that's not covered by Launchbox. I'll come back to that. I'm sleep deprived. So anyway, let me delete this UI element. I certainly don't need it. I can delete. I can align. As you can see, let's see, bottom. Yeah, I'm just making it go all over the place here. Or I can just simply say, you know what, I just do not want it on my view. So it's gone. All right. So it pulled it from the list. And we're back to where we were before. So let me see. I think I demonstrated frames last time, and I think the ability to copy and paste last time. But I also mentioned that we can copy effects or copy elements from one theme, from one view into a different view of a different theme. So let's do that now. And before I leave this view, I'll just I'm going to click the background, and I'm going to say bring it to the forefront. And as you can see, it's now masked everything. And if I bring it down level by level, you can see that it's exposing various UI elements at different layers. Okay, as I go down through the list and force the background to the very back of the view. Anyway, I just want to show that. I thought it was kind of cool. So what we'll do, I'm going to switch into Neon for a second, because there's a couple of things I want to do here. And let me see, I want to edit the, I want to edit the platform view. Okay, and there's only a few elements available on here. For text views, I do and have provided the ability to position and size the text wheel. So I have actually made a start on the wheels themselves, but real basic. It's kind of the last thing that I'm going to be working on. Is the wheel style and the various wheel variables that you can utilize there for spacing, and the camera zoom in on the selected versus unselected part of the wheel components, and what do you want in the wheel itself. So anyway, that'll be the last thing I work on. But anywho, what I'm going to do is add a label, and I want this to say total games, and then let's increase the font, and then alignment, let's center it. While we're at it, let's just kind of move that there, and let's use this, which I had newly installed. You know what, I'm gonna, yeah, there you go, that was pretty cool. Alright, so I want to kind of eyeball, yeah, kind of eyeball the center here. Okay, that's good enough for now. So what I want to do, I want to change the color. Let's see. We can go with. I could use a red, I guess. Yeah, let's go with that. That's not going to show much, is it? And then drop shadow effect with let's see, red with 50 and 90. Yeah. Total games. Alright. And then what I'll do, I want to add a launchbox variable. And what I want to do too is put a little icon next to these UI elements, and hopefully you'll be able to kind of pick out what you're looking for, so there won't be, you know, image versus variable versus label. Your eye should be able to kind of home in on those particular UI elements instead of kind of reading from top to bottom. So I'm planning on coming up with some, or stealing some icons that I can utilize for these UI elements. Let me see. So I wanted from Launchbox, I wanted the platform total game count. And what I'm going to do here is just simply copy, and let's see, is there, I'm going to paste. All right, and it took in all the attributes from that, but you know what, I want a different color. I guess this is variable, so why don't I kind of go for similar coloration here. Why do that? Yeah. All right, and then same would be true. Do I want that? Yeah, same would be true on this, I guess. So let's see. I actually kind of did this backwards, didn't I? Yeah. There you go. So again, I'm kind of eyeballing this. It's pretty close. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of happy. Now, another thing that I can do here is I'm going to copy this, and I want to simulate a shadow similar to what's going on here, the neon tubes causing a shadow, creating a shadow. So I want to do the same thing. I'm going to add another label, and I'm going to paste, and this time I'm going to drop the effect off, and I want a black color and opacity, I don't know, 30, 40 maybe. Yeah, I'll go with that. So what I want to do is grab the 288 1070, okay? 288 1070. 288 1070. Alright, so it's exactly the same location, but right now it's actually above the neon sign, so I want to kind of drop it down, okay? And I just click on that and shift and cursor key down, okay? And bring it down again. There you go. That's better. I knew something was off. Alright, so we've got a similar neon shadow effect, and in fact what I think I'll do here is, there you go, it's a little bit stronger. We can always blur as well, I believe. Let's see. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to save this. Okay. And all along we've had Big Box running behind the scenes. Now remember, when I first came in and opened up the editor, I was in the PASC theme. Okay. So if I switch to Big Box, as soon as I cursor up or cursor down, as if by magic, it knew that my current selected theme was actually the neon theme, so it switched over. Alright, so as you can see, we have our total games and total game count now listed, and to be honest, I think that kind of looks pretty cool, and it didn't take that long to do, other than positioning. Let's say I select Dreamcast. And this is where I'd place the wheel on the right hand side. Is that where it's going to be when I finish it? Who knows? So that's where I put it right now. And that's all well and good. So yeah, that is pretty cool. Alright, now let me switch back to the editor, and I did mention that you can copy elements from one theme, one view of one theme into a different view of a different theme. So let's do that. I'm going to take this one because it stands out the most. I'm going to hit copy, and I'm going to discard, and I want to go into PASC. Okay. And then what I want to do is, well, I can pick up whatever I want. I've got a glass effect that's, I'm using a frame UI element, and it's a glass effect. I think I showed this last time. I'm going to move it over there temporarily. I'm going to pick on this label, and I'm going to simply say paste color. All right. And then you can say paste effect. There you go. So those were the attributes that I had copied from a completely different UI element in a different view of a different theme. So, you know, there's a benefit to that. Instead of kind of recreating the wheel each and every time, you can borrow some of the look and feel that you thought was successful with other themes, or themes that are work in progress, or what have you. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and it's obviously a time saver. All right, and again, you know, you can do this for pretty much anything. Paste color, and then paste effect, and you know, I can just keep on going. Now this actually copied the entire font, which is not something I actually really wanted to do here, but But you know, that's why I'm giving you the ability to paste by particular category. All right. So anywho, I'm going to discard this. I'm trying to think some of the, other than the games list and editor changes, and obviously bringing in an awful lot of variables for game and platform. That is kind of it for now. As far as the changes that I made in the past couple of weeks, I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot of changes, and certainly a lot of changes that are not visible here. An awful lot of memory leakage that I had seen, and it was driving like 2 gig of memory usage just by using the editor, which is outrageous. It seems to be behaving itself right now. Let's take a quick peek. Yeah, it's doing not bad at all actually. 355 with big box running, and that big box is taking up 812. So yeah, I mean it's behaving now. That's a good thing. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. I will be adding more filter views. It's going to replicate. The idea being is it's going to replicate a big box with the different filter categories that you can select, you know, genre, so on and so forth. You'll have the same list available to you, and you can actually create views based on that criteria as well, which I thought might be pretty useful. One thing I do want to mention before I sign off is I want to go over this option here. I think I didn't do a good enough job kind of explaining what this ultimately is going to be used for. So I'll tell you what, we are going to use this text view, and I'm going to pick, let's see, I'm going to pick arcade. I think this is a very good example. And there's really no information listed for arcade. Arcade is arcade, it's very generic. What information could you possibly supply other than various, okay? Doesn't make any sense. So what we can do here, I'm going to leave the default because I want this default view to look and feel the same for every single platform that I have, okay? So I'm going to basically create an arcade specific version, okay? And as you can see, I have a preference option, a preference icon next to arcades, and I actually have some preferences or special configuration now for arcade. So I'm going to edit the arcade, all right? I'm going to go in and I'm going to start deleting UI elements, all right, because it's just not pertinent. There's nothing, there's no variable information for arcade, so why even have the UI elements to support it? Let me just move the glass out of the way a sec. Let me delete the label headings. What do I do? Oh yeah, label headings. Let's get rid of those. Yep. And let's see. There was some other variables on here as well. Yep, there they are. Because there's nothing to be displayed. All right. Yep, there they are. Sound, manufacturer. Yep. So I can delete them through here. I don't have to hunt around for them on screen. Total game count, I'm going to keep that. Developer, obviously don't need. Total games, yeah. Big box logo, yeah, it's all good. So let me move, I think I accidentally moved the image. Yeah, all right. And then align left. Yeah. And I'm using the cursor keys for more precise movement. All right, so that's kind of cool. All right. So what we have now is our default view that's used for every single platform. Okay. All right. And then whenever we select arcade from text filters view, this is what it's going to look like. All right. And to prove that, we'll go into Big Box, and again, it will flip. And then let's prove that. So if I go up to arcade, there you go. All right, no labels, no variables, no frame on the right hand side, and there you go, no lag as you switch between the two, as you switch between different platforms. So yeah, I thought that would be of a huge benefit. Now you can use that technique for numerous reasons, but this one was a fairly quick and dirty solution. But yeah, there was something else I wanted to demonstrate real quick, and it has kind of escaped me. So if I just switch back to PASC, and I can always go in and remove this override for arcade, which is what I'm going to do. All right, and then I'll go back, and now we've only got default. I think that was pretty much it. Filter by category and playlist are not active yet. I just wanted to get the framework in place as far as getting the game list coming up and being able to click on a game and showing all the different media and variable data associated with it. I wanted to get all that in place first before I start kind of tweaking the code and allowing for various filters. Yeah, I know there was something else I wanted to demonstrate, and I just can't remember what it is for whatever reason. Let's see. I wonder if it was video border. No, video border overlays. Yeah, I mean you do support video border overlays. I can't remember if I demonstrated that last time. Let me see. I'll go into Sony PlayStation. Yeah. I think this will be a good example actually. And I'll go in here. And I think it was one of these. Yeah, I'll go in here. So let's add video border overlay, and I got to tell it where it is, and it's in that subfolder, and I want to do it by platform. Okay, and lo and behold, Sony PlayStation 2.ping exists in this subfolder. Okay, so any game that you select and you've engaged or added this video border overlay element to your given view, this is what it's going to look like. I also can do it by game. I did create a ping for this particular game, and that's where those game subfolders come in. So if you do want to kind of create images based on a particular game, and obviously that all depends on how large your collection is, unless you want to just focus on a specific platform where the number of game titles are far smaller. But again, you've got complete flexibility over you know, how and where you want to create your images and what you want to use them for. So I just wanted to kind of demonstrate video border overlays and how they can be used at filter level, platform level, and game level. I don't have an image that I have used at the filter level at the moment, so it's pointless demonstrating that at this particular point in time. But once I have all the other filters in place, filter by ESRB, filter by genre, and all this kind of good stuff, then I'll put some rough and ready video border overlay images in place, just so that you can see it all kind of coming together. I do have a lot of other UI elements that I'm going to add. They're not here right now. I'm working on them on my laptop to finish off the remaining Launchbox variables, such as completed, portable, which are, you know, true, false type variables. I'm going to give you the ability to represent those values with an image. Same is true with publisher, developer. You may want to have a subfolder with all your manufacturers or publishers or developers, and as well as, you know, spelling it out in text and show it on screen. That's fine. Maybe you want their actual corporate logo or something. It's entirely up to you, but the ability will be there for you to do that. So that's something that I'm yet to work on, and I will have it available for selection from this particular context menu in the editor. All right. I think that is pretty much it. I mean, like I said, it was a lot of stuff, and it's just getting a lot closer and closer, and especially when I get to doing the wheel design and all that kind of stuff, then it will look more like a completed theme.